When I was first trying to stop drinking, I actually gave myself the label of an alcoholic. I ended up going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for about 100 days. I called myself an alcoholic, I called myself powerless, and I gave myself up to a higher power. Long term, this stuff didn't work for me. So when I call myself a reformed alcoholic in the title of this video, I'm not saying that I'm still an alcoholic. I don't give myself this label anymore. So by reformed, I actually mean that I've removed this label, I don't consider myself an alcoholic, and I've had to remove a lot of conditioning. And I've really had to remove this idea that I am an alcoholic. So in this video, I really want to break down the truth about stopping drinking. These mainstream ideas and these mainstream ways of trying to stop drinking just didn't work for me. I tried AA, I tried willpower, and in this video, I actually want to break down the flaws in all of the systems that are so popular for people who want to stop drinking. Why do so many people struggle on their journey? Well, it's because they're making mistakes, and it's because they are literally buying into things that just aren't true. I know that sounds a little bit hard to believe, so if you don't have an open mind, you will not like this video. I really urge you just to switch it off, because the stuff that I'm going to talk about, it's important. If you're trying to stop drinking, it's very important for you to really grasp these concepts that I'm going to be discussing, because stopping drinking is a very psychological game, so information is something that will help you on your journey. So without any further delay, let's get into it. Just before we get into the video, if you want to get access to the free video training showing you how to control your drinking without AA or willpower, click the link in the description. I'll be showing you how to use the mental model called first principles thinking to get control of your drinking. I'll be talking about the 5 critical mistakes that 90% of drinkers make, and I'll also be sharing the 2 phases of becoming sober clear. You do not want to miss that training video. It will change your mindset around drinking forever, so you can start getting your health, career, confidence, and relationships back on track. Click the link in the description for instant access. So I had a drinking problem for close to 10 years. I've shared that many times on the channel before, but I have a mother who has also had a drinking problem. In fact, if you look at my whole family tree, it is just filled with people who have got alcohol problems. So I reached a point in my early 20s where I just couldn't keep doing what I was doing, and I ended up asking my mum for some advice. Now, my mum has been to AA for 20 years, she's a veteran, and she recommended that I go. Hey, listen, I'm a very open-minded person, I'm willing to try anything, and alcohol was causing issues in my life very early on, so I just said, I'm in, I'll give it a go, I'll give anything a go. If you told me that if I learned to walk on my hands, it was going to help me stop drinking, I'd do it. I'd do anything. So I went to AA. So in a 12-step recovery or in AA or NA or anything of the matter, you are made to decide whether or not that you are the problem. You give yourself a label like an addict or an alcoholic, and they say that only you can decide. But at the same time, everybody else is calling themselves this thing, and then you're going to hear stories of people who are going to be similar to you. Maybe, there'll be a spectrum. There'll be some people who have drank extremely heavily, some people who have just had big problems, etc. And all these people are saying, my name's John and I'm an alcoholic. So eventually you kind of start to see similarities. So you say, well, surely if they're not drinking, they're giving themselves this label, I've got these problems, I'm struggling to stop drinking, then I must be the same as them. I must be an alcoholic. And that was kind of the way that I got this conclusion. I just saw a lot of other people and I just kind of went along with what everybody else was doing. So when you're an alcoholic, you are the problem. The drug is not the problem. The conditioning is not the problem. The marketing is not the problem. The fact that it's actually an addictive drug in the first place is not a problem. All the problem is because of you. That is what it means when you're an alcoholic. You're the problem. Now, one of the issues with AA, and I'm not saying, listen, my mum has been for 20 years. AA can help people. It's helped my mum. It's changed her life. I'm not an AA basher. If people go to AA, listen, that's totally cool. And do you know what? If it's working for you, don't listen to this video. Just keep going. But at the same time, like I said, it didn't work for me. So it's really my responsibility to actually make this video. So when you give yourself this label, you have to give yourself up to God. You have to give yourself up to a higher power. And the higher power is going to help you get through the hard times, through the cravings, through the difficult moments, etc. For some people, that works. They get to a difficult point in their life, they ask God for help, they don't drink, right? I'm not saying that that is an ineffective approach for every single person. But I went along with this and that didn't really work out too well for me. And then what I kind of realized is that if I keep going on this path to stopping drinking, I'm going to be coming to these meetings for the rest of my life. I'm going to be asking God for help for the rest of my life when it comes to stopping drinking. And really, everybody around me is kind of miserable about their decision to not drink. So after about 100 days, and I really did give it a shot. I'm not saying I just kind of went and said, F you all. It wasn't like that. I really gave it a shot. But after a while, I was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to be here. And I actually remember, I've never shared this on the channel actually, but I remember walking out of the meeting and one of the guys, he's been there for a long time. He came out of the meeting and he came and spoke to me. He's like, Leon, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I can't really be bothered, man. I just don't want to be sat around with these people. It's like, what do you mean? You go back out there, it's going to be dangerous. People die. And he swore at me at the same time. And I was like, dude, what the hell is this? I'm out. See ya. And yeah, I've never actually shared that before, but anyway. So the reason why I don't believe in this idea of being an alcoholic is because alcohol is the only drug on the planet where you are the problem if you can't stop drinking it. Any other addiction out there, you're not the problem. Cigarettes? People aren't cigarette-aholics for the rest of their life. Cocaine? People aren't cocaine-aholics for the rest of their life. Porn? People aren't pornaholics for the rest of their life. All of these addictions, you don't carry this label for the rest of your life. And because alcohol is so prevalent in our society, it's somehow a little bit different, which makes no sense. For some people, it does make sense, but for me, it doesn't make sense. The reason why we drink alcohol is because it is an addictive drug and we've been conditioned to believe that it actually does something good for us. And we live in a world where that belief is it just comes at us in 5,000 different angles, 5,000 different people, 5,000 different ways, and eventually the majority can never be wrong, right? That's what we kind of believe. So we just buy into the illusion of it actually providing a benefit to us. That's why we drink, but nobody told me that. I was told that I was the problem. I could never be fixed if I was the problem, and that's not really something that I thought was a long-term solution. So I stopped going to AA. Now, am I saying that I went to AA and then I carried on and I stopped drinking and it was just like that and I'm finished forever? Absolutely not. As soon as I stopped going to AA, I started drinking again. So I did get a little bit of success with AA. I stopped drinking for about 100 days, which at that point was the longest that I'd been without any alcohol since I actually started going. You know, this was like in my early 20s and I just went on a roller coaster for the next 6-7 years, however long it was. It was up and down. It was very, very, very chaotic. There were, great moments where things were going well and I wasn't drinking, using willpower. And then there were times where I'd be getting smashed every single day. I'd be getting blackout drunk. I'd be going out, be causing havoc in the city, just being a complete and utter idiot. And I'd lived that life for multiple years and it just wasn't good and it was very hard to make any kind of progress. I had jobs that I really had no interest in. I was working in restaurants. I had a job as a chef. I worked in car washes before. I worked as a waiter. I just did things that I had no passion about because I was just getting by. Because it was very hard for me to commit to something like a big, scary goal, like going to university or like starting a new career. I just didn't really have the confidence. And every time that I tried to do something like that, I would always knock myself back. Now, there was a point where I actually hit like a bit of like a rock bottom. I was sick on a computer. I've told you guys this 100 times already, but I threw up blood on a MacBook Pro and destroyed this MacBook. And I don't know if you guys have ever had anything bad like that happen, but as soon as that happened, I was like, no way. Is this even real? It felt like a dream. And I just stopped drinking. And I stopped drinking with nothing but willpower. Now, don't get me wrong. The past 6 or 7 years, I had varying degrees of success with willpower. And I actually managed to stop drinking for about 9 months with nothing but willpower. And do you know what? I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy, but life went pretty well. I got rid of the alcohol. And this kind of reaffirmed that I wasn't an alcoholic because I got rid of the alcohol. It wasn't that difficult. There were difficult times, but it was generally okay. And life started going really damn well. My confidence came back, my energy came back, my courage came back. I built this personal training business. I actually started making like some really good progress in life for the first time in a long time. And that was with nothing but willpower. Now, the problem with willpower is that it can get to a point where the willpower runs out. And that actually happened to me. I went to a New Year's Eve party. I ended up seeing alcohol as a good thing again. The willpower was low. All the people around me are drinking. I think, it's been 9 months. Life's going sweet now. It's the new year. Maybe I can just go back to moderation. And the real problem with this is that I still saw alcohol as a good thing. I hadn't changed the way that I viewed the drug. So what do you think happens? Well, I started drinking again and I just slowly started dismantling everything that I had built. The business collapsed. I broke up with my girlfriend. I sold my car. I ended up moving to London. I got a job in a city in recruitment. Lasted a couple of months and just kind of couldn't really handle it. Tried to start a personal training business again, failed, went into my overdraft, had to go back to Oxford, started working in a restaurant again. My life had just gone completely backwards. And that's really the problem with willpower is, number one, is that the willpower can run out and there can be a moment of weakness. And if you've not changed the way you view alcohol, those moments of weakness can typically end up with somebody drinking again. And that's what happened to me. Which really leads me into the next part of my journey. And what basically happened is I just realized, I'm working in this restaurant again, life had gone completely backwards. And I just said, I cannot keep going on like this. It just cannot keep going on. And all of this stuff that I'd learned, I had to just forget everything and I had to start from fresh. And what I started doing was I started reading books. I started watching videos. I started reading blogs. And I used a mental model called first principles thinking. I've spoken about this on the channel many, many times. But what it means is that I really broke down alcohol, addiction, this idea of being an alcoholic. I broke down everything that I thought I knew about the drug and I basically put it all back together. And what ended up happening is I just started to see alcohol in this different way. And the way that I see it now is I see it the same way that I'd see chlorine or bleach. So really now I just see alcohol as a poison that does absolutely nothing for me I don't want to drink one drink. I don't want to drink 10 drinks. I have no desire to drink it because I see it in this different frame of mind. And the way that you can do that is through literally using that mental model. It's through investing in courses, investing in books, investing in coaches, watching videos just like this one. There are plenty of other great stop drinking channels out there that will help you go through this process. But what happened to me is there was just a point where things clicked. I just saw it and I was like, I'm done. Like, I just felt like this surge of power that I was seriously done. I was finished for the rest of my life. And it's why I can make videos about stopping drinking. I talk about alcohol every day. I speak to people that have got alcohol problems every day. I help people in my business, soberclear.com, every single day. I help people in coaching calls most days. And really, I just see alcohol completely differently to all the other times where I'd stopped drinking through AA and through willpower. And now, the only thing that I did differently is rather than dwell on the past and beat myself up, I just got busy moving forward. I just started trying to improve my life. I defined a dream. I defined my dream career, the dream place that I wanted to live in. I defined a dream relationship, my dream health. I really defined what I want my life to look like. And then I just started going towards it. I just started taking one step in front of the other again and again and again and again. And lo and behold, I'm not saying this to boast. I'm saying this to really inspire you that stopping drinking can change everything. But literally, that dream is now a reality. And now I've got a bigger dream. I've got some more things that I'm aiming for. But because I'm not drinking and I'm taking one step in front of the other again and again and again, it's all come true. Which is epic because that can happen for you as well. And if you want more details about how I can actually help you stop drinking using first principles thinking and coaching to help you build a life without alcohol, head over to soberclear.com or click one of the links in the description. Thanks.